2, 1, 0.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Hello everybody, welcome. Sorry about the really slow start there. I started the video up and then someone yelled at me from outside my window. They were locked out of the building. But we're here now, and today we're going to review the infamous Jim Jones. Well, not review, I mean react to some talks by Jim Jones. Because as I said in my video for Keith Raniere, I find it really fascinating, these unquestionably bad gurus, these truly evil men. I find it interesting why people might be interested in them or stay with them, though staying with them is a big conversation because quite often you are literally trapped. But I just think it's interesting, like, what do they say that is so appealing? I was blown away listening to Keith in the video I did of him about how so much of what he said was like, well, yeah, I can kind of dig that on a very surface level. Thinking about it afterwards, there was a few things that weren't quite perfect, but in the moment, he was very, I don't want to say seductive, but he did lure you in very logically. So I thought we'd listen to Jim Jones because, you know, when it comes to bad gurus, he's the top of the heap. Actually, I always think of Adidas Samraj, who said, you can look at religious history of the last century, and that is a huge moment in time, right up there with Swami Vivekananda and like George Harrison and Swami Prabhupada and the Hare Krishna chant, because Adidas said, before and after Jim Jones, the religious world just went boom. Suddenly, groups that were left alone now are being focused on. It's after Jim Jones that we get all the deprogramming movements happening, good and bad. We get the lawsuits, we get the investigations into the Moonies and the Hare Krishnas and these other groups. It's actually when cult studies just sort of blossomed. It went from something very, very small and just went boom overnight. It's when the world became a little more fearful, quite honestly. Now, they should have been before. I wasn't born. I was born in 1977, so I don't know what the world was exactly like. But we should have been fearful. But I think that after World War II, I think many people thought, well, given our knowledge of history, given our knowledge of the Middle Ages, given our knowledge of whatever, and now Hitler, how can anyone mean ever come up again? How can anyone rise up and be another Hitler? It's just, we're all too smart for that. And no, Donald Trump is not Hitler. Get that out of your brains. You're too smart to think that too. But how can anyone rise up and how can anyone follow blindly? And then all of a sudden, Jim Jones. And I think that sort of shook our complacency, so we started paying attention. Now, following blindly isn't really accurate. Like I said, I think some people were trapped, and by the time they were killed, they may have woken up and went, something wrong is happening here, but it was too late. No one got, well, actually, people did get out alive, luckily, but it's just interesting to me. Now, one little side note, if you look at the gurus that I have looked at so far, they come into two categories, Sanatana Dharma and Neo-Hinduism as one category, and New Age folks, like, Keith Raniere, for example. I have kept it focused on those two groups because I think they overlap. A lot of New Age stuff comes right out of Sanatana Dharma, and there's a lot of New Age stuff in Sanatana Dharma. And so they kind of overlap and they use the same vocabulary. Excuse me. Oh. I grabbed something to eat when I got up to open the door for the neighbors. Sorry. I have not looked at and do not plan on looking at Christians, so there won't be any televangelists here. I'm not going to look at Jesse Duplantis or anyone else. I haven't looked at any Buddhists or Muslims or Jews or any other group because I don't know enough about Christianity to be able to argue all the Christian points that someone might say. Yes, I don't know everything about Sanatana Dharma. No one truly does, but I know enough. Uh, and and I don't know enough about Orthodox Judaism to go, well, actually, that's not the correct point. Also, I don't think there's very many Orthodox Jews watching this channel. And I don't know how many of you are Orthodox Muslims in Afghanistan. So, is it worth it for me to focus on, cultic figures in Islam? Probably not. So that's also another reason why. Um, if you think that only New Age and Hinduism have bad spiritual gurus, one, you were either a bad spiritual guru, or two, you're clueless. Kind of like fundamentalism. Every single religion has fundamentalists and bad spiritual gurus. If you think your religion is clean, you're wrong. Kind of like over the last few years, we've discovered that it's not just the Catholic Church that has gotten into trouble for molesting little kids. It's Buddhists and others and whatever. So I just realized I'm not wearing my thing today, but I hope you'll excuse me. It's so hot right now. It's in the 80s. I gotta go running earlier, and so mind my dressing down. I almost want to do this without a shirt. It's just so hot. Um, so, anyways, we're gonna look at some Jim Jones talks today. There's probably others out there. This is just a random sampling of things that I just found. Just some are visual, some are audio only, and to just see what he says. Um, yeah, I've never listened to anything he did. Maybe you haven't either. So this might be a revelation or whatever. So, yeah. Any other thoughts before I go into this? Oh, if you haven't checked out the roundtable that I did, it's my previous episode with five other Sanatana Dharma folks. Please do. It was a really wonderful occasion. I got invited to this roundtable with people I didn't know who they were, different face, and so it was really interesting. We're doing part two next week. I'll be putting it up on this channel. And also before that, I did just sort of, I call it an informal afternoon satsang because I don't know a better word. I just spent 2.5 hours one day just talking off the cuff and discussing like my reading list and just things I'm doing, whatever. And it was spiritual and non-spiritual. It was just life. It was just sort of a way to relax a little bit. For anyone who thinks that I'm ultra critical, I just wanted to kind of like show, no, I'm actually not. If you like that, and it seems that people have, I will be doing more like that. So occasionally I'll just do a free-for-all show. Um, so check those out. I'm actually rather proud of that, and it's part of my ongoing plan. I'm always making changes on this channel, trying to find new ways of doing things, new ways of presenting things, new things that keep my interest and hopefully keep yours. So, yeah, with all that being said, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Check out my website. I've got books online, and let's go into some Jim Jones and do a little housekeeping. And so you see we have 6 videos today. I don't even remember how long they are, but we are just going to dive right into these. My apologies, as always, about the sound. I never know how it is until after the show has streamed. Actually, hang on one second. Let me just... Jones, get some stuff going. Let's go dive right into these. My apologies, as always, about the sound. I never know how it is until after the show has
I'm telling you.
streamed.
Making
Actually, hang on
apologies.
one
I don't know what
second.
to do
Let
with
me
you women.
just-
I just soon die. Shit, I just soon die.
Jones.
I would
Get some stuff
I'm gonna
going.
pause
Let's
it
go
right
here
here.
right into these.
Because I'm working on
My
something in the
apologies,
background to
as
make sure the
always,
sound
about
is
the sound.
okay. I
never know
discovered
how
that I
it
can
is
God
do
until
this.
damn
after
it
the
to
show
hell,
has
I'm telling you.
streamed. Okay, it looks good. All right. Not enough windows open at once and whatever. Yada, yada, yada. All right. Let's hear what he has to say.
Ah, damn it to hell, I'm telling you. Making apologies. I don't know what to do with you women. I just soon die. Shit, I just soon die. I was hurt. I was hurt. I'm going to tell you right off, Sister Johnson. I was hurt. I was hurt with you. Dr. Shack interested in you, and you said you feel sorry for Stanley. You don't know Stanley's background. You women always make apologies for these pricks. I'm going to tell you, though, you made me ready to die. I'm glad for you. I love you. I'd give my life. But I'm ready when you feel, when a doctor's interested in you, and I'm ready for it. By God.
Can you... I don't know. Can you imagine um, Ramana Maharshi? Ramana Maharshi, because we all know Ramana Maharshi going, yes, you should pray and don't worry about these pricks. If he said something like that, we'd all go, Excuse me? What harsh language. What condemnation of a group. And if we're all one, and people always say we're all one, and, Advaita Vedantas, we're all, part of God, then looking at that group is not really a good thing. You should see them as individuals. Because we're already a part of a group. We should get deeper than that. You should be more understanding. You wouldn't say they're all pricks. Well, yeah. Oh, I forgot to say something in my introduction, and this is as good a time to say it as any. I was talking about the fact that I only look at New Age and Hindu. Um, Jim Jones is neither of those. Sorry, my mind got scattered. Jim Jones is neither of those. He's actually a Christian. He's a Christian minister whose teachings just went, I believe, right out the window. He's kind of like David Koresh, who was a Seventh Day Adventist, a fringe of Seventh Day Adventists. And so while Jim Jones is not in the focus that I tend to do, he's a Christian. His belief system is so bonkers from any type of biblical Christianity or Bible-based Christianity. He's pretty much out there with the Mormons and the Christian Scientists, just totally doing his own thing. I'm not saying that they're evil like him. I'm just saying they're all out there doing their own thing. They're not biblically based. That for me, he almost becomes like a New Ager in the sense of he's just doing his own thing. Too many New Agers just sort of do their own thing. So for that reason, I am focusing on him, though he's technically not in my categories. Also, he's just pure evil. That being said, I'm probably not necessarily going to review maybe, what's his name, Sun Moon of the Moonies, because he is, I don't know, whatever. He also is out there and he's also evil, but I think, I don't know. We'll see how this goes before I start rambling some more. Anyways, just want to clarify that. This guy's a Christian, but he's so bonkers, whatever. I don't see him as a Christian anymore. That's the gist of what I'm saying. Time to focus on these pricks.
I'm ready for death when you women won't take freedom, when you got the goddamn freedom right in your fucking hand. I don't know what the hell to do with you.
Goddamn freedom. So much enlightened words here. Well, he doesn't have enlightenment, so that's not his thing. So much holy Christian words.
And good old Stanley, somebody feels sorry for him. Who the fuck's gonna feel sorry for you? Why didn't he feel sorry for you while you were in town representing us? Why the fuck didn't he feel sorry for you? Where your ass at, Stanley? Well, you better not get your nose up, because I'm sick of your ass, too. You nearly got Marston killed trying to fight off the contract killers that were coming after you.
And, I know you have something to say, but see, a lot of this shit would have been avoided if you'd held a strong line with Stanley way back when. There are different ones of us that have jumped Stanley's ass, and Stanley has only gotten cockier because, like, you've given in to him, you've been assy when you've been confronted, and when you've been asked to confront him about his shit, you confront him about it. But the reason he acts a fucking fool, is because you give in to him, and it's the same attitude that prevails now that's made him a fool.
You're a beautiful woman. You ought to have some more pride in yourself. I want to be sure that I heard this right. Sandy was standing there. Is that what I heard her say? She felt sorry for his background and what she still felt for him and felt sorry for his background and what he'd gone through, all that shit.
I'm getting so tired of excuses being made for Stanley. By God, he's had chance after chance after chance. I've sat with him and given him chance after chance after chance.
You goddamn near got her killed.
I don't know what to say. This sounds like a divorce hearing in a courtroom that's out of control. I mean, we can't judge Jim Jones as an enlightened being because, as I did, he's Christian, so he doesn't believe in this. He is a holy man. He is a pastor. He is a minister. But, by God, imagine if Billy Graham talked like this. Maybe he has, but as far as I know, not in public. Oh, my God. He'd be knocked down a peg. Actually, funny thing is we have people in our Sanatana Dharma community who say they are enlightened and they talk like this. I ran into one recently. He was argumentative like this. He was very much like this. And for me, that's proof. If a Christian talks like this, we say they're not Christian. Well, then someone in Sanatana Dharma who talks like this, well, you ain't enlightened. This is not the talk of a holy person. And the people coming back to him are just... This is just arguing over animal instincts. I don't even know what happened here. But, oh my God, like I said, this is a... Wow, it's like a divorce hearing. There's nothing religious here.
You goddamn near got her killed. And I still stood behind him and said the sons of bitches would have to come through our whole church to save you. And you feel sorry for him? Well, you sure made it. You didn't make it clear. When I stopped you, and what I'm saying, sweet, and as much as I love you, I'd give my eyes for you. If you'd say that to me, what's really going on in your head? Because I was standing there and I said, here, you got a good deal. And I'm telling him, you got a good deal. A doctor, the straight A student, and you know what the f to do. You know what the f you know which decision to do. And I told you, and I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't pay no fucking attention to bodies. What the f bodies he got? What the f bodies any of us got? All that goddamn crazy shit. What is love? If love isn't I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die. Shit, I'm ready to die.
What I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die. Can you see Neem Curly Baba doing it? Fuck this shit, F shit, that prick, Rama, Rama, fuck that shit, oh that shit, fuck, that shit, fuck, Rama, I'm ready to die, right? You couldn't see Neem Curly Baba having that conversation. Could you see Vivekananda going, well, you know, the Upanishad said this, and the people of India, I'm ready to die. Jesus, this man is not holy. This man has anger management issues. Wow, I started off on a hot one.
What do you have to say? What do you have to say?
And it's interesting. It is interesting because we've watched an array of videos. If you've watched all these reaction videos, we've watched some with interviews. We've watched some with talks that have been given. And I really like the dynamic of seeing these different things because you get to see someone in different contexts. This was the criticism I had with the interview that we reacted to of Keith Raniere, because it was Alison Mack doing it, and it was all... she said the night before she created the questions, but she very likely had given him the answers, or they, she's a follower, she's a devotee, they're not going to paint him in a bad light. And so it was all very organized. The interviews we've seen with folks, I mentioned in the one with John DeRuiter, how different he was in the interviews than in the formal talk. And sometimes it would be like he flips a switch, so now he's going to do a pre-programmed thing. So it's really, really interesting. I actually complimented Mother Mira, who I was impressed with because of the interviews and how she was responding to them. I was like, wow. I was like, this woman's got it. She is the real deal. Whereas in Amma, I was like, nah, her responses are very weird. So this is really interesting to see him in a context that is maybe not meant for public consumption. Actually, one of the videos we did with Keith Raniere was him ripping some woman apart for something. I don't remember what it was. And... Let the ambulance go by. You probably can hear it. And it was just like, wow. So this is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Also, I need to mention he has quite a dye job on his hair. Did you see that clip? It's jet black, just like Elvis, which is probably where he got it. Jet black. But the guy was at least old as me when he died, I'm sure, if not in his 50s. So he was going gray. But man, I'll give him credit for the dye job.
I mean it too. When you said you gotta mean it.
These people.
What I had for the say, I was telling Sandy how I felt when there was some problem with me, but I was okay, like you said, alert. I was getting ready to talk to her because she was okay. The thing was,
all right, I'll let you go. I was in the middle of white night, and I stayed 5 minutes. The Attorney General, they said the Attorney General's coming after these two children, and I still spent 5 minutes, and I thought, my God, that I should have to explain this again. I said, yeah, I'll let Sandy explain. But, honey, if you haven't got it now, you're never going to get it. If you haven't got it, blow wind up his ass and even talk to him, give him any feeling, any goddamn feeling that his arrogance. Shit.
That's what I told you. I told you that even if you still had feelings for him, that he was going to always fuck over you as long as you...
And I want to know why you got feelings for him. I'd like to know what the and I'd die for you too. But one thing, he's not got any loyalty. Anybody would take off with a white woman and do that to a black woman. Nobody got any goddamn loyalty.
I don't want to talk about the race thing here. I don't really know the details of this. But I... oh boy. But I want to comment on something he just said. I would die for you. And he's now said this a few times, and I'm ready to die. I would die for you. Believe it or not, this is actually something I have heard from the mouths of spiritual gurus. They would die for you. So why aren't you giving them all? Why aren't you giving them all of your life and your spirit and your soul and your jiva, whatever, all your love, all your money, all your sanity, because they would die for you. So that really shows you how important you are. This is actually said by bad gurus, maybe good ones, quite regularly. You can find this. This is a warning sign. When you hear this, this is a warning sign that you might be dealing with someone who is not on the level, you know? This is just cult mentality talking. It's just cult leader, whatever. I don't know the right words here. It's just like, this is why I do these videos, is because we can see shared traits on these people. As we watch them, we let them speak for themselves. I'm not sitting here reading a book about cults to you going, well, you know, this is what this person says, which I have done. But we're actually letting them speak for themselves. And when we get a whole bunch of these, like I've done a bunch now and have many more to do, we start seeing overlap that we can learn from. And then my hope is that we get this stuff in our head. So then let's say we meet some Baba in the backwoods of Australia and Baba starts speaking to us, yada yada yada, and all of a sudden we hear things that, oh, wait a minute, that's a Jim Jones phrase, or uh-oh, that's a Keith Raniere phrase. We'll know, like, okay, maybe this is something we should put some distance to. So that's actually why I do these videos. Partly just because they're fun for me, and I like learning about these gurus, but also to train ourselves to be aware and to never stop thinking and not stop asking questions. Because, yes, oh my God, you're going to die for me. That sounds so good on the surface, but then we see everybody else says that. And, well, in this case, he really did. Well, he didn't die for any of these people. He died because he was being chased by the government, I think. So this is just training our brains. Hope that's the point here. Let's go back to this psychopath. He truly is. This is a bonkers conversation.
No fucking loyalty. She wasn't even the way. She hadn't hardly got her ass out of here till you were laying down with somebody else.
As long as I can remember. You've been doing this as long as I can remember. You always been fucking with somebody else when you was with Janice. You've been doing this. You confronted a long time ago in L.A. He's been doing this. Every time you confront him, and later on you open his legs, you open your legs to him.
Can I say something, please?
That guy sounded like he was on speed. But let me ask you a question. Obviously, sex is something going on here, some relationships going on here, maybe with a black or white woman, so there's some race issue involved. Remember, this is, what, 1970s? So those are legitimate issues in the culture of the day. Why would you be discussing this openly in what sounds like a huge meeting? If someone is banging someone else, is this really something to be discussing publicly? And is it something to be dealing with in such a heated forum? Maybe this was a train wreck, and maybe they have issues with the guru, and it's funny he would allow them to speak their issues for someone who's a psychopath. But it is interesting. I mean, can you imagine Billy Graham getting up in front of his church of 4,000 and going, well, Barbara over there was banging Fred. Let's talk about this. It's just like, Yeah, it just feeds into this thing of Jim Jones and Jonestown, and things just aren't right in this world. Yeah, I don't know.
And each time I try to talk to Janice, she gets upset and moody and won't even speak to me. I told her you are a fool to stay with Stanley.
I'm not staying with him. I decided to move out tonight. I was talked about it, and I told
You mean you just
You
let
should
me
have
move
decided
out
to
now?
move out, child. You should have kicked his ass, and he knows it. You should have kicked him in the balls the first time you saw him.
Is that right, Stanley? Is that right? Is that right, Stanley?
Wow. This is better than a TV show. God, if only House of the Dragon was this interesting.
Hold it.
I'd also like to know why you
Hold
think you've got to move out. Make him move out. By God.
In the future, you people fighting because I usually win these goddamn white knights. Will you please quit and tearing up the clothes?
You don't move out, you make him move out.
You wait so long anyway. Why did you, I'd like to know why in the hell you sat up there like a fool. Look at me. Why did you sit up there and wait that damn long?
I mean, they might have legit concerns, but
got back and heard. If I
Wow.
were you and I first got back and heard he was off with a white woman, I'd have kicked his ass and hers ass.
oh,
At the same time.
so he was with a white woman cheating on his black girlfriend, I guess.
How in the hell do I know when you won't be loyal to a woman? How in the hell do I know what the f*** you're going to do on the front line when we're here facing a goddamn war? You don't ever talk. Nobody opens your mouth. What? You never have told us why those contract killers are after you. What did you do?
I don't know anything about it, Dad. About what it was for.
Why, you must have done something, goddammit. To break in and Marston had to meet him at the front door.
I was trying to think about it, what it's about, but I can't, recall anything about it. Deal with.
Of course, why would they come after you just because you're Huey Newton's nephew? They haven't killed his mother. They've discredited him and destroyed his organization, and his paper has gone completely destroyed. But why would they be after you? You've done something. Wow. I'll damn tell you, the gangland doesn't come after you unless you've done something. You crossed somebody,
That
or
is true.
you messed in somebody else's dope territory, or you f***ed around somewhere, man. I'm going to tell you, you did something to have a contract killing on your head. Now, who in the hell's after you? What did you do? I hope it's good, but I doubt it.
I'm more around.
Wow. Okay, let's go to something calming.
The order that I'm primarily concerned about.
This is 1971.
We're working on her now. Well, some years ago, the doctor told me, and they told me this often, that she would never be herself again. But I've always said they're lies. I don't believe what they say. And I tell you, I've gone everywhere. And I finally found the resting place. And I'm resting my case right here. Wonderful. And I want to thank the group that came to my house about almost 2 weeks ago. I want to thank Jim and Tim Stone, who arranged this group to come on. For a beautiful group, mostly consisted of the resting place. And I've been meeting with them for the last 2 weeks now. They're a beautiful group, and they've helped me so much. And they just show so much love. And the love that I see here. And I know with Jim behind me and the love in this temple, that my daughter's going to come through.
I love those old mics.
There are so many miracles in this church that it's hard to tell about one without telling about two or three because they run together to make a beautiful flow of miracles that changes our lives. I have a job that I've had for a year that was gotten for me by a miracle. The man employed me and then I wasn't able to go to work for 6 weeks. And he waited for 6 weeks with nobody working for him because our Father kept that job open for me. And I was one of the fortunate ones to go back to Philadelphia. I was also doubly blessed to be in the same bus with Jim. And in the course of conversation, he asked me how my job was doing. And I told him that progressively each month we were getting less and less orders and that my boss was going bankrupt. And that was all that was said. When we came back from the trip, My boss was in a state of turmoil. The orders were pouring in so fast, he didn't know what to do with them. He had to hire another girl, one of our temple members, had to be hired full-time to help keep up with the orders, and he still doesn't know what's going on. And I didn't ask. I didn't even ask for any help. I didn't even think to ask for any help. Another thing, I ran out of gas just the other day. I had about 1.5 miles to go to the service station, and I thought, well, the car's...
I'm going to pause her because I always question miracle stories, because she talks to Jim and suddenly there's a miracle and her business is doing really this business is doing really well. Well, you could say it's a miracle, but why would you have to talk to Jim if he is this father God being, which I'm kind of getting the feeling that he is? Wouldn't he just know there's a problem, and wouldn't he just solve it without being told there's a problem if he's the all-knowing being, I guess, leader, whatever? Also, what is a miracle? It's something that happens without any explanation, maybe without any logical reasoning, right? There's also the casual meaning of the word, where someone does something really well, and it's like a miracle that this happened because it went against, my guess of what might occur. I didn't think my boss was going to give me a raise. They did. Oh, wow, it's like a miracle because I was really expecting, or I was hoping I would get one. But actually, I did a good job after all. I thought I did bad, Jim could have simply have gone to people and said, please give so-and-so business. Keep my devotees going. Is that really a miracle? Are you saying that he has superpowers? That he's blessing you, when really he just manipulated some things just because you told him, which means he doesn't have any super insight? That's kind of what this is saying. So this is a long video, and I don't really like to criticize devotees too much. I kind of hold back. I really just want to criticize the guru in general. But just a side comment on miracles. I'm not saying that, she's a bad person or whatever. So for her, it was like a miracle. She told her Godfather, in parentheses, God, father, whatever, that she needed help, and then suddenly he made help happen, and it just was like, why did he care about me? And it can seem like a miracle, but I just think she lacks information. So it's just something to consider. I'm going to let her speak, but if this goes on, I might just forward the video on to where Jim is speaking. Because she's not necessarily the public person here I'm looking at criticizing. I want to hear her gas story.
I thought, well, I'll try to start it, see if it'll go a few more feet to save me a few feet of walking. And suddenly there was gasoline in the car. And I went up 2 grades and down a grade and up again. I got to the service station. I went on the wrong side of the tank because I was so excited. And I pulled back and I went back up again, and I had plenty of gas to do all of this. And I didn't ask. And for 30 years,
okay, that's a miracle.
I prayed to a sky god, and I got down on my knees and I pleaded and I cried for help, and I got nothing but disappointment and heartache. All right. And now we have a Father who loves each one of us so much. We don't even have to ask, and the blessings are there. He wants to give us so much that everything we need and everything we desire that's good for us is there before we ask. How thankful we are for you, Jim. Thank you.
And that's why people join cults, because they were part of something and they didn't get any reaction to it, and then they were finding someone who things were happening, and now they joined the cult. But knowing how this all ended, and she's likely dead, was God watching over her, and that's why God killed 900-something people? And why did God have 900-something people be killed? So was God, who she's praying to, really saving her? I mean, that's the question people ask. How can we have someone like Jim Jones if there is a God? To which I'm going to say, because maybe God has a master plan, and we don't know it. And maybe God decided there was a lot of bad shit happening in the world, like I said at the beginning of the show, where we were just naive to it. So something needed to happen to wake the world up. So Jonestown happened. God sacrificed 900 people, because God does seem to like to sacrifice people. And then the world suddenly woke up to cults, and now we are aware. It's sort of like, I believe that maybe COVID was a way of God taking the mask off of things. We trusted people. COVID. Now, wait a minute. I don't trust you anymore. And so I know it's horrible to think God sacrifices people, but sometimes I think there's this master plan and God creates these events. So, yes, they're horrible, absolutely horrible. And I feel sorry for these people because this does not seem like a horrible woman here. She's just a true believer. But maybe God creates these events so we all can learn. So it's for the benefit of all. Fewer sacrificed for the benefit of all. I don't know. Let us just move forward here because I want to see Jim preach. I'm sure these people are lovely and they have a lot of great words. Oh, there he is. But I don't want to hear from them. So let's see. Where are you speaking from? And the reason I love those old microphones is because it's like Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash and being a rockabilly guy. I just really like those old microphones. Here we go. Thank you.
No more traditions change shall bind us. Arise, ye slaves, no more enthralled. The earth shall rise on new foundations. We have been not, we shall be all. We want no condescending saviors to rule us from the judgment hall. We workers ask not for their favors, let us consult for all. To make the thief disgorge his booty, to free the spirit from its cell, we must ourselves decide our duty. We must decide and do it well. The law oppresses us and tricks us. Taxation drains the victim's blood. The rich are free from obligations. The laws the poor denude. Too long we've languished in subjection. Equality has other laws. No right, says she, without their duties.
I don't know what he's reading.
On equals without cause. Toilers from shop and fields united. The party we have all who work. The earth belongs to us, the people. No room here for us to shirk. How many on our flesh have fattened? But if the noisome birds of prey shall vanish from the sky some morning, the blessed sunlight still will stay. And the birds of proa, the birds of this spoiling tear, are vanishing from this extended glade. Arise, ye Christians,
I kind of want to get beyond the Hammond organ, even though I love Hammond organs. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go.
That came from the earth of earth, and the dust of this toilsome fields and the hardship.
Sorry for that. I probably should have edited this before. I just didn't really want to see anything he was saying to keep myself completely naive. I love Hammond organs. They're so good. I just love that sound, but I felt it was hard to hear, and the singing and copyright strikes, YouTube, etc., etc.
Of labor, from the lowest of economic positions, from the misery of poverty near the railroad tracks, I came to show you that the only God you need is within you.
He just said the misery of poverty near the railroad tracks. That makes me think of Jack Kerouac, who I was reading on my afternoon satsang video 2 videos ago. That is such a classic thing in America, poverty and railroad tracks, and you're hitchhiking on the railroads. And when I was reading my Jack Kerouac book and just finished it, he talks a lot about that because he worked on the railroad. And that was just struck me as so interesting because today, as I do this in 2024, railroads and just like bumming on the railroad, and that's such an old cultural thing that we seem to no longer have in America. It's just gone. We don't rely on the railroads anymore. And this isn't anything spiritual. It's just interesting to hear them. Like, wow, in 40 years, this is not really something we mention in conversation. Like, oh yeah, the bums at the railroad tracks. Like nobody says that now. I don't know. It's just the historian in me.
None of it. That's my only purpose in being here. When that transition comes, there shall be no need for gods or any other kind of ideology, rituals, tradition, and religion. The opiate of the people shall be removed from the consciousness of all mankind. There shall be no longer further need for anything religious when freedom comes. There will be no need for concerns about the tomorrows, because every day will be heaven. We will have built the heaven that man has suppositionally dreamed about.
So that's actually really interesting what he was just saying, going beyond the rituals and the teachings, etc. Because there is a belief here in Sanatana Dharma that when you get like enlightened or aware or something, you do go beyond these teachings. It becomes a part of you. You're no longer just reading scripture. You're now a part of it, and it breathes through you, and you're breathing it. Does that make sense? Sort of you go beyond it in a sense. So that's actually a very Eastern idea. But this opiate of the people clearly is not. um, and I mean, that now takes it into a different place. Well, I would never say that the scriptures of Sanatana Dharma are an opiate. But that's interesting. But in this context, and context matters, no matter what someone on X might be telling you, context matters because in this sense, yes, you go beyond the scriptures, yes, you get beyond them to then do what Jim Jones tells you to do. So you're really not going beyond anything. You're just replacing scriptures A with my scriptures. So what's the difference? There isn't any. So it's just you're I don't like one, so I got another one. But you haven't done without any of them. And this is an issue I have sometimes with spiritual gurus. Adida comes to mind, and others who do a lot of writing. They're like, yeah, don't read the Bible anymore. Read my book. It's, it's like, now this is, it's just a word game. It's literally a word game. Okay.
We will have the heaven that we have been taught by the white masters would one day be given to us, that we might be able to shine somebody's shoes in the throne room. But we shall have our freedom here and now.
White master is interesting.
And in the meantime, I come in the phenomena
he's connected to his black constituency.
To get people out of religion. I came the very God of heaven in all of its might and fullness.
So he spiritual but not religious, even though he's talking about heaven and all this, which is very religious.
With all the power that you said God had, I have come to make one final dissolution. Yes. One final elimination of all religious opinion. There's no room in the consciousness of truth for religious opinion. And until I have eradicated it from the face of the earth, I shall do all the miracles that you said your God would do and never did. I shall come and heal you all the diseases that you prayed for that never happened.
Oh my God, this is so cult leader speaking. I can't tell you how many times I've heard a cult leader go, well, I am here to do what hasn't been done because I'm here and I'm here now and you're safe and all the stuff you wanted. Well, I'm going to do it for you now. You got hope after, oh my God. Wow. Wow.
You saw the woman today that did not give the message that I told her, but she said, I will be with you because I gave her a message that saved her child's life. Otherwise, it would have been destroyed by fire. You've seen all the gifts and faculties of the woman that moved down the aisle when I told her, I, God, command you to walk, and she walked. Not only did she walk, but she ran around this place. But all that is done that I might eliminate all of the condescending Savior images that you have. To remove all the judgment hall concepts and all the heavens and the sky and all the sky God consciousness. I want to eliminate it from the opinions of people to recognize finally and completely that there is no God but. I see there's some still not aware of what God is. God is perfect freedom, justice, equality, and thus the only thing that brings perfect justice, freedom, and equality.
This is fascinating because if you look at the congregation here, it's largely a black congregation, which I didn't realize he had that, or at this point in time, he had that. So he's talking about God. What is God? God is freedom. Well, we hear that from John DeRuiter, but it's also justice and equality. That's Marxian talk. That's communist talk. That is race relation talk. Look, all you blacks who are being oppressed by the white man here in 1971, which is very legit and very true history. God offers you equality. Is that the message of God that any of us find in any scriptures? That's not a message of God. That's a slightly different message. That's not a spiritual message. This is a social message. And yes, spirituality and social issues, go together. But still, it's really interesting he would define God in a term for the group of people he is talking to that would literally most connect with them. He's not talking about their self-esteem. He's not doing a Ramana Maharshi "Who am I" thing. He's not doing I don't know, whatever teaching. If you find Krishna, if you find Jesus, or Jesus is an avatar, whatever. He's doing, you will be equal in society, and you will have justice for those unspoken crooked judges who are not giving, and politicians, whatever. It's really interesting how he's playing this up. He's giving them exactly what they wanted to hear and what they needed. And yeah.
Perfect love in all of its beauty and holiness is socialism. So far, socialism.
There we go. Perfect love is socialism.
And the twain have been married in this dispensation.
So does that mean that Vladimir Lenin was a spiritual guru, and so was Fidel Castro, and they share, and that that Mao Zedong? Never mind. You know where I'm going. It's not even funny. It's just so sad.
I have taken upon myself a body, the same one that walked in the plains of Mamre, of whom Solomon said his hair was as black as a raven.
What's interesting, though, is Jim Jones was clearly on the top, and the rest were all on the bottom. Obviously, they all, were subjugated to him. That's actually really not socialism on some level. That's a dictatorship. But to preach socialism is like going to draw these people in. Wow, this is just such a... Yeah, it's he wrote the textbook.
And he would share, as Isaiah said, 7:20. He would
and then quote the Bible verse to show you're right.
I come shading with a razor.
I come with socialism, Isaiah said.
I came as a God socialist to eliminate all your false gods and opinions. If that administration has been done, then I shall go into the obscurity of the conscious collective principle, socialism, and will have no need to make any further intrusion in the affairs of man. Men have so dastardly distorted what my spirit is that it is necessary for me to come upon the scene, and I have.
So he's like God incarnate, Jesus or something, part 2.
Proofs of that, so that you will have no further need of religion, because the highest authority tells you that you have no further need of it. I've come doing all the things you ever imagined God to do, and have never seen done. You have never seen anyone resurrected before your eyes, and yet you have seen me do it repeatedly. You've never seen anyone shot down as I was before your eyes with the blood spurting from the body and heal themselves, yet I, the socialist worker, did that. It's beautiful to know God is a socialist worker. You can identify with that. God is a socialist.
You can identify with that. There you go.
He is one of the people. He's an instrument of all that you have desired. All that freedom embraces, all that justice embodies, everything that sensitivity imbibes, that is what your God is. And I must say it is a great effort to be God.
After the video we just saw where he's going F, 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 all that, was that an example of God being sensitive? Wow. Wow, I have no words. Wow.
I wish it upon another, but no one else in the particular stratum of the class consciousness that we are in.
Class consciousness.
Has the faculty that I do. When they do, I'll be glad to hold their coat. In the meantime, I shall be God, and beside me there shall be no other.
Wow. I am unique. I am the one and only. That is such cult talk. Actually, just about all these great gurus go like, I am the one and only. I am the one you should be following. Oh my God, this guy wrote the book. Oh my God.
The other day,
God.
just a few services back last week, one of my brothers came to me to show you that there's nothing lost in this consciousness. My brother John back there, you were concerned about something that was lost. You were so concerned that you lost it miles and miles away. Well, my spirit retrieves it for you today. Come and take it. There's nothing lost.
What took so long to retrieve it? You had to send someone out there? Wow, I didn't know he was a miracle man.
I just wanted it every now and then to show you that it can be done. No one else was with you, and yet I know where you lost it, and I retrieved it.
It only took a week. Only took a week.
Other things that are lost here that I would pass out. They were toward the end of the meeting. socialist nation.
That's it. That's exactly what he's doing. Wow. Wow, I didn't know he was a miracle man. I'm thinking it's all...
Resurrected her and brought her out. You say...
Oh, no. Oh.
Disaffection.
We'll go here.
This is one thing that we can understand. But when it comes to hatred, I pass some of it here too. Antipathy. When I pass that, you can't hurt me. It only boomerangs on you. The chickens always come home to roost.
That is
equality between all races. Surely you believe in
Malcolm
that?
X talking.
We've heard about economic equality. Even Governor Rockefeller says we need more of that.
John Rockefeller.
The world is beginning to say the rich have had it too easy. They get loopholes through the taxes. They don't even pay any taxes. So we're asking for a common denominator that will free the people from the bondage of the aristocracy, the rich, the plutocracy. Yes. That's been months ago that my spirit resurrected her and brought her out. You say, your spirit? Why, of course, there's nobody else's spirit but my spirit. See, I've lost my will and his will. It's written of old. Even in the three-dimensional man, we have seen poverty eliminated out of millions of people across the ocean.
China?
I heard the radio raving this morning about the tremendous feats of health across the ocean. Where people were starving, now they are fed. Where there was no medicines, now doctors are going back into the patios barefoot to see that everyone has good medical care. Where there was a life expectancy of... there's a brother back there that has given me some concern.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Just with Dr. Bramwell on some occasion. Yeah.
It is interesting, though, this is a video over 50 years old, and yet we still rant against the aristocracy and taxes and all this stuff. So society doesn't change.
You'll be in jail, and my spirit will not be able to help you. I reached you as a socialist liberator.
Socialist liberator.
Well-being.
Oh my God.
If you will, you've got in your pack something you take two times a day in the pack, in a big bottle. I will cease taking those for 10 days.
I don't know what he's on about right now.
And I said, I urge you to stick around and learn this socialist principle. They've taken our Bill of Rights as theirs. Get all of our advancement of science and technology and all of the so-called input of that morality and morale building that capitalism is supposed to give. We have not been able to eliminate social disease, not in one sitting. And it's eliminated, according to the report today on the radio over KGO, over the entire nation. 800 million people free of social disease. No drugs, this report said on KGO.
Where?
No debilitation from alcohol. Practically eliminated from the minds of people, and young never think about it. Yet my whole nation do something about my young. 9 years of age.
The microphone works, guy. You just ruined it for everybody.
9 years of age. As a common practice, they were using drugs. 8 and 9 years of age. If you think you're protected in a little agrarian community, an agricultural community such as this, you are badly mistaken. Because our
jeez, come on, guy.
I have friends in the school administration and the board that have informed me that drugs have been found in the 4th grade level. They're pushing drugs in the 4th grade level right in this valley. Something to think about. Right. So if it can work in a 3-dimensional scope, how much more when the only parapsychologist of this magnitude comes along, the only one you've ever seen turn water into wine, the only one you've ever seen, the only God that you've ever seen that's able to resurrect himself when the blood is gushing out of his chest. And take my fingers after the nursing personnel put their fingers in the gaping holes, I just took my hand and closed. No one else you've seen that can do that.
I'm sorry, this is such bullshit.
To show you one thing, that now God also is on the side of socialism.
Oh my God. So you rope people in with the socialist rant, and then you throw in some, well, look, I cured myself with a miracle that likely nobody saw other than a few nurses, and they're not there, so they're not going to vouch for the fact that there was no miracle. So he can say all he wants. Uh, and then you throw in some, well, Isaiah says this. Wow. Well, God's a socialist. Jim Jones said it. And if you believe that all prophets are real, then he's a prophet. So Jesus is a socialist, people. There's a whole world on X that will be happy to hear that. Woke progressives, you are literally saying what Jim Jones said. I'm sorry to let you know. That's your revelation for the day, folks.
If you uptight people, they understood. You really got more in common with me than you think. You see, you have to turn it into, you put it into the processing and get some money out of it to save the people. That's what you're doing anyway. Right. And if you don't need a God, fine. I'm no problem to you. But if you need a God, I'm going to nose out that other God because it's a false God, and I'll nose that God out until you get the right concept in your mind.
So if you don't need a God, then you're probably not going to have one. But if you need one, he's going to get rid of the bad one. So I guess he's getting rid of the Jesus God who didn't do anything for you and replacing him with this himself who is Jesus God. It's gibberish, people. Complete gibberish.
You understand the mystery?
Nope, don't understand.
The mystery. If you
No, I don't.
Have a God and you're already believing that you must build a society, that you're going to have to eliminate poverty, racism, injustice, and war, that you're going to have to stand up and protest loud and clear against all the inequities of life, that you are going to have to make your own declaration of independence, then I will not bother you. But if you're holding on to that sky God, I'll nose him out 10 links every.
Wow, that was amazing gibberish. Let's go right into the next video here. That made no sense to me. Wow, well, this one's a little bit shorter. 1972. Los Angeles. Wow. Wow, this is really interesting to me. I hope you're finding also this to be interesting. I'm going to skip ahead again because, as I say, there's nothing to criticize. It's people having a good time. Here we go.
Now,
So a year later.
each of you with a fond embrace, a salutary kiss of greeting to your neighbor. Let's fill this atmosphere with warmth and love.
See, that's a good sentiment, particularly in 1972. That is a legit sentiment. And blacks and whites hugging and loving each other. Sorry. This is a legit thing. This is how society should work. So it's very odd because these gurus, even the worst of the worst, there's always something there which is actually positive. And he's preaching socialism. And I'm not a socialist if you didn't figure it out already. My girlfriend is. She studied Marx. That was her master's degree. So she knows all about that. But I'm not. And I've never hid that from any of my things here. But the essence of socialism of, we're going to get along, people are going to be fed, I get that, I understand that, and I completely sympathize why you would want that. I just think the way socialism works to make that happen is dysfunctional and has never worked, and it won't work, and I don't like the excuse of, well, they didn't do it right in China, whatever. So he's actually preaching things which are good, and this is like, oh my God, this is like the woke progressive movement before the woke progressive movement happened. Let's all live together and not fight and not do any of this stuff. Wow, literally Jim Jones is saying the same things that the woke progressives do now, and progressive Christians do. Oh, give or take, but close enough. I mean, I guess you could also say, like, MAGA, whatever, he says the same things. But I don't know, it's interesting. But he's definitely saying things to connect with people, to click with something that is important to them. And social issues are important to them. and living in harmony and having a better life, and you can do it under socialism, yada yada. Huh, I don't know. This is so very interesting. Wow.
Now as we meditate, God is love. Love is a healing remedy. We're going to reach out to areas where man has seemed to have difficulty. As we concentrate that the gifts of the Holy Spirit might function, or what the secularists might speak of as the paranormal, let us believe.
Huh.
Let us believe.
I'm...
Sister Ingram, you're
Wow.
concerned about the losing of your sight. You're not able to see me clearly. Things just blur to you. You have to stumble around lately through crowds and are not able to see even people's faces close up to you clearly.
That's true.
You've told me nothing about your condition.
No, I haven't.
So I just want to pause here. I just went over to Wikipedia. So this is 1972. California, LA. He has at its peak over 3,000 members. In 1974, the Jonestown commune in Guyana was built. So this is 2 years before he moved to, or asked many people to move to Africa. And then 4 years later, in 1978, November 1978, we know what happened. And he was 47 years old. So, I'm 47 years old. Oh, Jim Jones was born May 13th, and I was born not May 13th, but wow, that's weird to think he was my age, and that's so weird. When you see someone your age and they do something like this, it just makes you contemplate your life. It's like when you hit 27 and you realize, or 28, and you realize you've now outlived like Jim Morrison of the Doors. It's just one of those weird things our mind does to us. But he's in his 1972, 1978. Wow. It's just like I think about where I was, where I am at 47 and where he is. It's like, man, wow. Yeah, I don't know.
Give that little sweetheart a little bit of love. Thank you, baby. Peace. Now, take your glasses off. Just dare in our faith. We've seen Sister Brown here who was blind, totally healed. We saw one of our sisters blind from her childhood. It could be hysterical blindness, whatever. We're not concerned. She was blind and could not see. Now, look at my face. I'm going to hold up some fingers. You concentrate hard. I love you. The people love you. And most importantly, Christ loves you. What do you see? How many fingers?
3.
One finger. You don't even need your glasses, child. Let's all be thankful as she cries back there. Let's cry and rejoice with her.
I can't explain that. Can't explain that.
Edie? Are your fingers numb in your right hand? And having enormous headaches in your head?
Yes.
Reach your hands out. Reach your hand out to me.
Yes.
Reach the fingers out that are bothering you. Now, is the pain gone?
I don't know what to say. There's probably a very logical explanation, but I don't have enough information.
Who's Willa Mae Conley?
Wow.
What a sensation about you. Did you once lose a loved one, I think the name of James?
Yes, that's my brother.
He was 14 years of age. And he was reading something, and someone asked him for what he had, and he didn't want to give it.
Yes,
and
he did.
that person shot him to death.
Yes, he did.
I'm saying this to give you faith,
Yes.
so that you can mount up, because you've been feeling pain here in the chest
Yes.
and in the back.
Yes.
And you injured your foot some time ago, and
Yes,
you've been
I
having
did.
constant pain in it, where you had to move around with a chair.
Yes, I did.
I do not know you, and you've told me or no one else the things I just mentioned.
No,
Is
you
that
sure
true?
haven't.
Now, where's your pain?
I feel sorry for that woman, but she looks happy. Oh my God. Holy Christian Pentecostal.
The doctor has relieved you from your work.
God.
In the second row. You have a bad spinal
This
condition.
girl, she's just like,
Yeah.
And your hip is injured.
Yeah.
Step from your wheelchair. Begin to step from your wheelchair. Try it. Just try it. Just try it. We have nothing to lose. We have no face to lose, because we've said we're no panacea. But I have seen more healings here than I've ever seen any place. I love you. Jesus Christ loves you. Jehovah Jireh. All the goodness of all the world's great religions, in the name and the mercy and the goodness of Jesus, wherein I stand.
so he's calling upon Jesus and the glory of all the world's religions, even though, what was it, the previous speech where he dumped on the sky gods and their fake gods? So you're calling upon now all the religions, having previously dumped on any god other than him. So why would you call upon now all the fake gods and all the fake religions? That's what he's doing. Contradictions. When you start putting these things together, you start getting these contradictions. Of course, in the moment, you don't hear these, but that's why I do multiple videos. We just like wake up to things. And this is amazing. I don't know what to say to this. Of course, lots of videos have been done on these fake healings and whatever. It's a whole world in itself of Christian evangelists, but wow. I mean, I don't know. I feel sorry for these people. I really do, on some level, just feel sorry for them, because 900 of them are gone. But you can see how they would be drawn into this. I mean, I don't think anyone seeing this would go, who's ailing, would go, oh, no, nope, not interested. Can't walk anymore. But no, not, I mean, you can see why he would have 3,000 people gathering at his temple. And imagine if this was today in 2024 with social media. He'd be a Deepak or a Teal Swan or any of these people who are just huge. I'm blanking on names right now of people who are huge. But if he had all the social media we did today, oh my God. Wow. and to see that he's truly evil, though, at the end of the day. But it was interesting that we started with that talk that was not probably meant to be public, where he's just mouthing off and acting very unspiritual. So you really see that here's the public Jim Jones, and there was the private Jim Jones, who ended up being the real Jim Jones. Just a paranoia, psychopath, dictator, whatever. Yeah, just... It is very interesting. Wow, this is very educational for me. I have never watched... This is really educational for me.
Come forth, my dear.
I'm just... Wow, I'm really
Stand
grooving
up.
on this.
Take that step. Bless your heart. Take that step. Take that step. Now.
She hasn't...
Move
She's
forward.
only stood up.
Move forward.
Yeah, move forward.
Move forward. Move forward. Move forward, darling. You can do it. Move forward. Move forward. Child, sweetheart.
So the assumption is that she was in that wheelchair completely, but that's not always true. Many wheelchair people have some mobility.
Freely.
And she's being lifted up, too, so there is cheating going on.
To exercise the joy.
Oh, those house
I love you.
dresses.
Christ loves you. The people love you. Now, sisters, walk briskly. Walk briskly. Walk.
So we know for a fact that these are often people who are faking it. They're strangers who are coming in and they're faking it. This is a common thing that has been well debunked. So it's very likely she was faking it, or others were faking it. But if you didn't know that, and you could see how this would be... You could see how you could be drawn into this. Plus, on top of the healings, he's preaching socialist equality. I think it's obvious now why people are attracted to him. And the public persona gives you everything you might want in 1971 society. And I think in 1971, I don't think we had begun to debunk these healings like we have today. I don't think we had. I think it was still very much, oh my God, that person was actually healed. And the whole skepticism that we have now wasn't prominent in society. But yeah, I mean, I forgive these people for being ignorant on some level, because you can see.
Someone had me very busy, needed to talk to me about something, so I just went into the drawer and picked out a pair of shorts and put it on, and they had the needle fixed with some poison on the end of it, so that it would just touch the cheek and go in, and I knew right then what someone was up to. But I want you to know I've not been off my feet.
I don't have a date for this talk.
Oh, really? At this time we will receive our offering. Would you do me the kind favor, because I'm not feeling my fingers or my lips, and I'm speaking somehow, I don't know how. But it's a kind of a strange feeling that I went through. First it was vomitus and enormous pain, gastric pain, but as I said, it never caused me to get off my feet. You say, well, why do they do that to you? Do you need to ask why they do that to me? They that live godly in Christ Jesus shall suffer persecution. They shall revile you. They shall say all manner of things falsely against you. They shall do unto them everything that they wish to do, and even kill you, thinking they do God a service. And if you're not getting persecution, you're not living godly. So I have my credentials. What about you?
This is why so many people are frustrated or don't believe in the Bible, because it's like, well, you can twist the words of the Bible to say anything you want. And he is clearly doing it because according to him, he is God and he is fulfilling God and he is a victim just like Jesus. This is where scriptures actually
If you're not getting persecution, you are.
And this is where sometimes we need to step back from scriptures a little bit. I mean, I love scriptures, but at the same time, I'm like, no, we need you have to be careful. I really think you do have to be careful because we can manipulate them. That's the genius of this brain. And I've seen people say, I just spilled coffee on myself. Sorry. I've seen people say, well, don't think, just let someone do it. And then they quote some guru. Well, how do you know the guru isn't manipulating something and saying something? Because here is a guru. According to these people, he was true. How do we know he was true? He said he was true. He said things that sounded true. So so when someone says, well, my guru is the true one, how do you know? You're in the same boat as these folks. This is where I guess we're talking about fundamentalism here, and it's on all religions and believing blindly, blind faith. Where you have to be very careful of that.
To ask why, because when you live for truth, you'll be persecuted, and if you're not getting persecuted, you're not living the just life.
I do have to mention this is very typical from gurus where they say that they're being attacked. This is so typical of gurus that are bad. They're always paranoid. It's like paranoia and paranoid delusions. Sorry. It seems to be a common trait for people who are put in this position. They think they're being watched. They think they're speaking the truth. They may or may not be. I don't know if he was being watched at this point in his career. I don't know when this talk was. I actually know someone right now in my immediate circle who is dealing with paranoid delusions and thinks the FBI and cops are after him 24/7. And he can't go to his parents for help because there is an orange orb in the parents' yard, even though the parents live in the middle of nowhere. And he said, oh yeah, all the people around see the orb, even though there's like nobody around. And he's totally paranoid, and it's really scary. I was on the phone to a mental health person the other day. This is how intimate the circle is, discussing the options. And it was like, well, do you have insurance? No. Well, it's $16,000, the down payment on a house. So, like, well, I guess we can't do anything. We don't have $16,000. And it's, so then you get this person, and he was spouting to a friend of mine about his religion and his religious beliefs, and that they were exact. And it's really interesting. I got off topic there, I know. But we do see this paranoid delusion coming hand in hand with some sort of worldview or religious view that justifies your strange behavior. And this guy, locally, this guy's like, no, everyone thinks I'm crazy. He literally said, everyone thinks I'm crazy. Like, well, yeah, everyone like Jim Jones was crazy too. But he's like, oh, the FBI are against me and the CIA is watching me and they're just trying to arrest me, If he's driving down the street and a cop goes by, oh, they're chasing me. Cops go by all the time, go by all of us, So yeah, it's really interesting, and it's sad. It's sad for anyone caught up who's believing this person. And in this case, yeah. I don't know, sorry, little side rant there in my personal life.
You're not in the body of Christ, the body of this revolution. Nothing happens just, nothing just happens, everything happens just.
Doesn't make sense. Just sound good. Words
Out
sound
of the voice of Jesus himself. Jesus was away shore to teach people how to live, to get their head out of the sand or out of the sky. He said, don't pray to go to heaven. And even Paul said, don't look up to go to heaven. He said, the righteous faith saith on this wise, the word, heaven, God, is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thine heart. Don't say who will go up to heaven and bring him down, or who shall go into the deep and bring him up from the grave. But what saith it? The word is within thee. Heaven is on earth. That's the only heaven you'll find. God is here. That's the only God you'll know.
Wow.
Make yourself God, in the 10th chapter of John. And he said, it is written, all of you are gods. Said, I'm no different than you. Everybody's a God. So Jesus is God. I am God. You are God.
Oh my God. Wow.
That if it is time for me to lay down my body, I will, but all the king's horses and all the king's...
So Jesus was an Advaita Vedanta socialist? No, no. It's just random quotes. It's pure random, but wow, that was interesting. I don't know what that quote really says. I'm sure it doesn't say quite that, or it doesn't mean quite that, but...
Men cannot bring me down until the time has come. Listen on.
But wait a minute, I got to go back to that quote. It was fascinating. So if we're all gods, but Jim Jones is the god, then how can we all be gods? So actually, he's quoting a quote. He's quoting this, but actually it works against him because according to that, we're all equal. Even he is equal to us. There's nothing special about Jim, according to this quote. But yet, according to him, he is God. So we're not all gods. There's only one God. Yeah, when you quote scripture to try to prove your point and you're a psychopath.
All ye scoffers and poisoners, we're feeling good in the House of Jones today.
House of Jones. Wow.
When we face a depression, the people that are the most unemployed, the greatest social problems, they're the ones that are going to go. Say it'll never happen to me. Oh, get off of it. The Jews, capos that sold out the Jews, they reserved the worst fate for them. They castrated them, made them eat their own gonads. If they didn't kill them, they sent them on to Israel so that the Haganah would kill them. All those Jews that worked so faithfully to sell out their brothers and sisters. And I got some Uncle Toms and Aunt Janes in here. Say, I'm all right. The man likes me, you good house nigger.
Oh,
You're just so good.
I'm
You're
sorry,
just such
folks.
a good house nigger.
Wow.
When they brought that snake in here the other day, that rattler brought him in here and dropped it and just biting, hissing mad. All the people can tell you in Redwood Valley, I've got that snake tamed. It won't kill anything anymore because I don't like killing. I don't even kill anything to eat. And that snake eats egg right out of my hand. He didn't like it. He fussed and hissed and I said, you cut that out. And I'd spank his little belly. And now he just crawls around. He's 5.5 foot long. He crawls around and lays on my shoulder and any place. People can handle him. Anyone can touch him now. Why would you worry about a little old green snake when you got all these white two-legged devils running loose?
White.
And a whole lot of black ones, too.
Such racial.
Whole lot of brown ones.
Oh, wow.
At least it's the most reasonable thing that I find to believe. If you're going to get involved with religion, reincarnation is the most reasonable thing to believe in.
Okay, we can
Otherwise,
take that.
God is a dirty old man that ought to be raped. Yeah.
I think he caught his words there for a second. Who's going to rape God? Do we follow? How does that work?
Maybe that might straighten out the sky god. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. That was a Freudian slip that some of you psychologists in my midst will have to analyze. Most sex, they say, is oriented in violence, so maybe there's something to that.
I would do anything, any means to this church, for this church. If anyone caused or tried to harm this church, I would kill the president or stake my life upon this church.
Yeah, fundamentalist
or
people.
To protect the pastor.
I'm going to fast forward to this for the reasons I said earlier.
John Harris.
I don't want to.
Jim Myers. I am
Listen, and I'm a violent revolutionary and
I am
Oh no, I don't want to hear a child. I can't. It just that child in the 1970s. The voice we're about to hear is a child that would still be alive. Actually, God, what was my brother born? What 1974? So would be in the 50s or 60s, like for 60s now. No, I don't want to go there. Here's the thing, and I actually have a future episode about this. Jim Jones is a beast and a contradiction and manipulative, and he knows how to play the game of spiritual guru. the people he has following him, we can say that they are ignorant, naive, gullible. What they likely are is hurting. And they're going to him the same reason someone goes to Jesus or ISKCON or Muhammad, whatever. It's not always, but sometimes people turn to religion out of pain to find a way out. Okay? You can't blame them because we've all been in painful places. Maybe we've actually turned away from God when we were hurting. Or these people are in a bad spot in life and they want better, if not in this life, then the next one. Maybe they do believe in reincarnation and they're hoping they can purge some of the bad karma. Who knows? But we can't, on some level, we have to acknowledge that they are probably legitimate, honest to goodness spiritual seekers, no different than you nor I. They are people who think and know and believe, and maybe they felt something bigger and they want to touch it. Who does not want that? Is that not why we are here on this channel? We want something more. So we can't condemn them on some level. They are honest to goodness spiritual seekers who were probably disappointed by the religion they had, and they found this man who seems to promise everything. We want to condemn them as ignorant, whatever. Maybe they are. Maybe they're totally ignorant. Maybe half the congregation can't read. I don't know. I don't know anything about the congregation. I had a book on Jim Jones once, and I ended up never reading it and giving it away. And it was very, very detailed, and I just felt I wouldn't be able to handle it from where I was in my life at that point. But they are honest to goodness spiritual seekers, and we have to sometimes just kind of go, okay, we can't condemn everybody. We do have to recognize that these people thought they had something, and who can blame them? And they were wrong, and we can teach ourselves not to be like them so we don't die. But we can't necessarily condemn everyone. If we truly call ourselves enlightened, then we're not going to see the guru and the teacher, the guru and the devotee as one. We are going to understand that there's a difference here. We're going to see these as individuals, I believe. But it's something to ponder, because I've seen people just condemn Jonestown completely. Well, they're all just stupid people. Really? They're stupid people looking for hope in the world. Is that really stupid? They're looking for something better in the world. Really? I saw you protesting. I saw you out protesting against the government. Why? Why? Because you want something better in the world. What's the difference between them and you? You went protesting for a movement. They followed a teacher. Is it really that different? Not necessarily. So we have to separate ourselves a little bit from these people, and it just then makes us feel sorry because they were so deluded. But, they're just people wanting something greater, and they followed the wrong guy. I think I had a point there. I'm sorry. I may have lost the point. We will keep going.
Violent.
Yeah, no, sorry, I can't.
I'm a violent revolutionary. I have the ways and the means to do it.
That's just sad.
But you cannot tell me and say, yes, something out there is loving. That you cannot say. Because if you go by the fruit of what it made, 2 out of 3 babies going to bed hungry, that's not love. To make people a certain color and then to suffer all their days long just because they've got beautiful black skin, to work for half the pay in this state of California, to pay twice the rent, to be treated every time they move, to walk in a department store and have everybody waited on before you get waited on.
He's right.
No, that's not love.
He's 100%
Whoever made
right.
you did not love you. I did not make you, but by damn I will save you. Now you get that in your little smoke pipe. You get it in your cut and you chew it. Savior I am. A redeemer I am. A deliverer I am. A father I am. I can save you when you're in jail, just like I brought that man out of the jail.
Yeah, this is such a cult thing. He literally said something totally on board about racism. I totally agree with it. It's a problem. Okay? And I've seen it. I've experienced it. I've had, blacks in my world, and I've lived in Harlem. I've been involved. I've been the only white guy in all black theater troupes. And had lovers who were dark-skinned. So I got it. That's totally legitimate. Everything he said was totally right on. And then the next thing is, I can save you. I can save you. How? How can you save me, Jim? Because you create miracles. So you found something that was missing and some woman walked. The interesting thing is, this is such guru thing. They give something totally legit. They rope you in and then they promise you something. But making a woman walk, let's say that was a legit miracle, okay? Let's say it was legit. Making her walk, how did that bring socialism? How did that help the equality of the races? It didn't. How did, or the earlier miracle, finding something that was lost miles away, how did that bring socialism? It didn't. So this is the catch. It's like, look, I'm going to draw you in with something very legitimate, a very legitimate concern. And then I'm going to promise that I can do something for you. And look, I can create miracles. Boom, piece of paper just appeared out of nowhere. Didn't you see that? Wait, it's vanished. Oh, it's a miracle. The miracle has nothing to do with what I've promised you, but it doesn't matter. And then you stick with me, and you stick with me, and you stick with me, and then you get roped in. It's like, watching this is totally the template. But it is really interesting when we stop and think about this, and I have to say, when we stop feeling what these gurus are saying, because if we're feeling him, we're going to be roped in. Like, oh my God, yeah, this guy is promising great things to help the races. Help equality, help society. And if we just feel, yeah, but we need to not always feel, and we need to think. And when you think, it's like, wow, this is I don't know. This is really interesting. Hope you're enjoying
a few moments,
this.
And I can promise, I can make prophecies and keep them. Just like I prophesied life to her son and he lived. Just like I promised Doctor here, Reverend at 92, that he would not go back to jail, and I paid my money and got him out. Just like when his leg was broke the same day, I healed it. He didn't have to have a splint. He didn't have to have a cast. I healed it before they had the time to set it. I came to him and healed it. Oh, yes, I can heal you. Oh, yes, I can raise you from the dead. Oh, yes, I can open your blinded eyes. Oh, yes, I can get you out of prison. Oh, yes, I'll give you a home. Oh, yes, I'll take you in when you're lonely. Oh, yes, I'll make a heaven out of your hell. But I'm in a war against your buzzard God. I'm at war with your buzzard God. I've come here to defeat your buzzard God. No preacher in America that loves you so much that when we need money so badly to prepare for our exodus, because we'll have to leave just as sure as the children did under Moses from Egypt. We'll have to find ourselves places hewn out in the mountains, and we need supplies. We need all kinds of supplies, even getting distilled water. We have to take care of every provision, sanitary equipment, all kinds of medical supplies. We need it, but there's not a preacher in the world that would have stopped short in his offering. He's too conscious of paying for his Cadillac. There's not a preacher in the world that would have stopped his offering and said, my folks, I love you. I want to tell you the truth. I want to give you the truth. With $250 in an offering, that's all that's been taken. Oh, how I would that you had the truth. Now we will finish our offering, and then we'll go into our healing service. He said, Jesus didn't preach this. Oh, yes, he did. Jesus said, I was a slave. Philippians said, Jesus said, though I was a servant, that means slave in the original. Jesus said, though I was a slave, yet.
And now, on top of what I just said, he brings in the scripture to validate all that I previously said. That it's such a by the book. It's very educational.
I considered it not robbery to be equal with your buzzard God. That's what he was saying. I've had enough of your praying. He said, I've had enough of looking up. He said, look within. The kingdom of revolution, the kingdom of your hope is within. He said, quit looking up. Look here. Today is a day of salvation. Heaven's on earth. He said, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth.
Oh. Is that Cornell West? No, maybe not.
I'll preach this every now and then. This scatters. Say we're getting too crowded. We have chairs in the aisles. It'll take care of it for 2 or 3 weeks. Because people don't like the truth. They'd rather worship a buzzard than they would a real living God.
Wow.
The majority of people would rather worship a buzzard. They'd rather stick with that buzzard because they think brought them here. Do you worship the honky? He brought you here from Africa.
Oh, honky. Wow, I haven't heard that term in a while.
How do you feel about the honky? He had power. Buzzards have got power too. They can tear your flesh off. Do you like the honky because he brought you from Africa? Do you like those that put you in chains? Well, you don't have to like sky gods either. I've been cussing them out for 50 years. I'm a great-grandfather nearly, and I'm feeling better. And the more I curse out your buzzard sky god, the better I feel. That's where I get my energy from. That's how I can heal the sick and raise the dead, by telling the truth. The more truth I tell, the more power I get.
I still don't get this because he's dumping on the sky god, but isn't the sky god him? Or is he an avatar incarnation of the sky god? And without that sky god, or if the sky god is fake, how could he then be an incarnation of the sky god? This reminds me of what Adi Da used to do. He kind of dumped on Hinduism in a roundabout way and didn't talk about it so much, but he did dump on it. He dumped on the whole thing and then would be like, well, I'm an avatar. Well, so you're going to dump on the tradition that actually makes you an avatar. Because if you have a different tradition of which there is no avatars, then you're nothing. But so I'm an avatar of religion I'm now going to dump on as being basically fake, which means you're not an avatar. That's what he's doing. Jim Jones is the sky god of a religion which he dumps on as being fake. Essentially, he just dumps on it to draw people in. He's like, oh, your God didn't answer your prayers because you're all basically still slaves to the man, so I'm going to answer your prayer, or to Honky. So now I'm going to answer your prayers. It's just like, wow. But it's just contradictory garbage when you break it apart. But it's like, man. It's like if you could take a class in how to lure people in, you would need to study this man. You absolutely should not dismiss Jim Jones. You need to study him. This is the textbook on how to say the right thing and how to do the right thing to become a maniacal, paranoid, horrible person, I guess.
So you're going to drop dead doing it, not on your chinny chin chin. I've been doing it for 50 years nearly. Well, if you don't like it, I do. Wow. There's my son, anyway. He got a jail, just like I said, didn't he?
Wow. So this is the final video.
The world, the kingdom, toughest violence, and the violence shall take it by force. If we can't live in peace, then let's die in peace.
I'm ready to go. If you tell us we have to give our lives now, we're ready. I'm pretty sure all the rest of brothers are with me.
For months I've tried to keep this thing from happening.
You're going to help yourself, but you'll get no help. There's only one hope of glory. That's within you. Nobody's going to come out of the sky. There's no heaven up there. We'll have to make heaven down here.
But only at first. Living, you're looking at death. Living is much more difficult. Raising up every morning and not knowing what's going to be the night's bringing. It's much more difficult. It's much more difficult. Please, for God's sake, let's get on with it. We've lived as no other people have lived and loved. We've had as much of this world as you're going to get. Let's just be done with it. Let's be done with the agony of it. It's harder to have to watch you every day die slowly, and from the time you're a child to the time you get gray, you're dying. Dishonest, and I'm sure that they'll pay for it. They'll pay for it. This is a revolutionary suicide. This is not a self-destructive suicide. So they'll pay for this. They brought this upon us, and they'll pay for that. I leave that destiny to them. I want to see you go, though. They can take me and do with me whatever they want to do. I want to see you go. I don't want to see you go through this hell no more. No more, no more, no more. We're trying. If everybody will relax. The best thing you do to relax, and you have no problem. You'll have no problem with the thing if you just relax. The children here. Let's get calm. Let's get calm.
Let's get calm so we can fucking
We
die.
have nothing we can do. We can't separate ourselves from our own people. For 20 years laying in some old rotten nursing home. Taking us through all these anguish years. They took us and put us in chains, and that's nothing. There's no comparison to this. They robbed us of our land, and they've taken us and driven us till we tried to find ourselves. We tried to find a new beginning, but it's too late. You can't separate yourself from your brother and your sister. No way I'm going to do it. I refuse. I don't know who fired the shot. I don't know who killed the congressman. But as far as I'm concerned, I killed him. With respect, die with a degree of dignity. Lay down your life with dignity. Don't lay down with tears and agony. There's nothing to death. It's like Max said, it's just stepping over into another plane. Don't be this way. Stop this hysterics. This is not the way for people who are socialists and communists to die. No way for us to die. We must die with some dignity. Mother, 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 please. Mother, please, 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 don't do this, don't do this. Lay down your life with your child, but don't do this. Free at last. Please, keep your emotions down, keep your emotions down. Children, it will not hurt if you'll be quiet, if you'll be quiet. All over, and it's good. No sorrow that it's all over. I'm glad it's over. Hurry, hurry, my children, hurry. All I say does not fall into the hands of the enemy. Hurry, my children. Hurry. There's seniors out here that I'm concerned about. Hurry. I don't want to leave my seniors to this mess. Quickly, 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 quickly. Sisters. But no, no more pain, I said, Al. No more pain. Jim Cobb is laying down our life. We're not letting them take our life. We're laying down our life. They're taking their lives. We just want peace. Talking to them, all they're doing is taking a drink to go to sleep. That's what death is, sleep. Of it. I'm tired of it all. Beg you, don't fail to follow my advice. You'll be sorry. You'll be sorry. That we do it and that they do it. Must trust you. You have to step across. We used to sing this world's not our home. Well, it sure isn't. That's what we were saying. It sure wasn't. He doesn't want to tell him. All he's doing, if they will tell him, assure these children. Some people assure these children of the relaxation of stepping over to the next plane. So we've set an example for others. We've set 1,000 people who say we don't like the way the world is. Please God. Take our life from us. We laid it down. We got tired. We didn't commit suicide. We committed an act of revolutionary suicide protesting the conditions of an inhumane world.
909 members died, plus Kim Jones. 304 children, according to Wikipedia. U.S. Representative Leo Ryan, who was visiting to investigate reports of stuff happening there, died. He was the congressman shot. While 4 others with him were also murdered by gunmen, which is what he was referencing. Interestingly, it was directed that Jones's assets be given to the Communist Party of the Soviet Union upon his death. 7.3 million, which in 2020, according to Wikipedia, was worth 29 million in funds to be transferred to the Soviet embassy in Guyana. Wasn't done. Yeah. I don't know what to say. Other than I found a Wikipedia page on list of people who claim to be Jesus, and going back to the 1600s, and it's really interesting when you start looking at these people of like, oh, interesting, who claims to be Jesus? People who, oh, Sun Myung Moon, Kim Jones, and it says he claimed to be the reincarnation of Jesus, Akhenaten, Buddha, Vladimir Lenin, and Father Divine. Charles Manson, Yahweh Black Yahweh, many others I don't know claim to be Jesus. David Icke has claimed to be Jesus. David Koresh. Many others. Wow, this is a long list. And funny that they've been so many who claim to be Jesus have not brought prosperity to the world. Actually, quite the opposite. And I guess it's part of Jim Jones where I also come from my questioning of Advaita Vedanta and I am God and you are God and all these people declare they are God because so did Jim Jones. So how do we figure out which one really is the reincarnation of Jesus and which one really isn't? Well, we follow the Bible. But according to Jim Jones, all that is a sky god. It's not right. So how do we declare he's not Jesus? Then we follow the Quran, but he's not Muslim. I mean, what do we do? Wow. I will flip this back to our normal screen. And I need to wipe my eyes, so just give me a break. Give me a moment. Wow. It's really hard to know that all those children died, and here this beast is saying, just convince them to lay down. It's okay. How do you tell a 5-year-old that they should die and be happy about it? And, well, you can't. You shouldn't. You shouldn't even think such thoughts. I cry for them. And I cry for all the other people who I've been meaning to do an episode on suicide, but I haven't gotten there yet. I have the notes for it. And I just want to say suicide is not the solution. Sorry, it is not the solution. It is not the way. Please do not commit suicide. And I am not presenting myself as Jesus or God. You all know that who watch this. I am not presenting myself as some great spiritual guru and join my club. I've never done that. I'm coming to you as a man saying, please do not commit suicide. This is not the solution. Life will get better. I'm going to give you 2 examples. So I had to go to a therapist a long time ago. I was in a bad state. Everything in my life was collapsing. Everything just falling apart on me, and I was in a bad place. Jobs, relationships, everything. Almost died a few times from accidents. And the therapist, lovely woman, Ann Halleck, who's now retired, she says to me, life comes in waves, so kind of ride out the wave a little bit. In 3 months from now, your life will change. And it did. In 3 months, things were a little bit better. Actually, they were much better. I had found some exits where I could just kind of escape and get out of this environment I didn't like. And I had a relationship that was happening that was very enjoyable. And I had gotten a job, which wasn't the best job, but, had good people in it. And life had changed. And so when we commit suicide, I think sometimes we believe that there is no change on the horizon. But that's not always so. Now, I'm not talking about those of you who are terminally ill or whatever. It's a little different conversation. But if you're depressed or you're bad, please give it some time. I guarantee it will change, particularly if you take some actions to make change. I have a cousin. His name is Lance. Gosh, I'm 47. He is 50. Oh, almost 60. He would be if he was still alive. Lance killed himself, shot himself, long time ago. And this is my dad's sister's son. And he shot himself. He was manically depressed, and I think bipolar, and he was embarrassed by his family. He was embarrassed by his father, my uncle, who was a horrible man. Horrible SOB. And Lance shot himself on his son's first birthday. He had 2 kids. He was embarrassed. He didn't want his kids to meet their grandparents. He was just working class, I think working in a factory or something, and just couldn't deal with it. And his mom found him because the work called her up and said, hey, we haven't seen Lance, where is he? And she walked in on him, dead. And it traumatized some of my family. I had an aunt who had been very close to him, who declared it was her fault that he died because she had moved away. My grandmother, his grandmother too, had also moved, and that had not really split the family, but it hadn't done anything for a lot of animosity in my family. We're really famous for not talking to each other for like 25 years, And I know my aunt was like, yeah, if only she hadn't moved, maybe things would be better. Now, my aunt has rejoined and reconnected with her sisters who she didn't talk to, and part of it was this trauma that was just like, wow, I should have been there, and how can I ever face my family? And they've been connecting again, and that's good, but a lot of it is connecting through pain. But here's the thing, had Lance stayed alive, he would have found that his piece of shit father would have passed away. Had a heart attack, I believe, and died. I don't remember what year. And his mom, who was my aunt, and she's a very nice woman. There's nothing wrong with her. She got remarried to a wonderful, funny, creative, artistic fellow, woodworker. Super, super creative, super awesome. I have something up on the shelf from him, but you can't see it. Very friendly and outgoing, and he moved into the house with my aunt that my cousin had been raised in, and turned that house into just a dump into something wonderful. He's out gardening. The land, which had just been gone to hell, was turned into something wonderful, and has a little woodworking studio in the back, and is selling stuff and is doing stuff, and he made my aunt very happy. And yeah, they have their problems because, married couple, whatever. But had Lance lived, he would have seen that. Now, the other thing I should mention is that his sister was traumatized by that, and I think that's why she, in her 50s, doesn't have a relationship. It's just too much. Never has. Been married as a single mom, and I sometimes wonder if Lance's death contributed to that. So it traumatized the family. But had he stayed alive, he would have seen that things did actually get better, and he would be very happy, and he would have loved his stepfather. But he needed patience. Patience to see that things will get better. And we don't always have patience, and we fall into these paranoid places, and we don't have patience, but we should. I'm just telling you, I've seen this now. And I have an aunt, actually, one of my other cousins, same side of the family, tried to commit suicide. She used to wear a scarf around her neck because she tried to cut her neck. Please don't commit suicide. If you are watching this show and you are suicidal, please write me an email. I will respond to your email. Please find me on X, write me an email. Please find me on Facebook, write me an email. Please reach out to me. I am not a doctor or anything like that. But I will share with you hope and give you hope. This is not the way. So I cry for these people at Jonestown who felt it was the way, but they were pressured too. There was no way out. Well, we've sat here for 2 hours. And I really feel like I don't really quite have the words to describe all the things we experienced over the last 2 hours. This has been quite educational. Very fascinating. I didn't really know anything about this. I didn't know he was a communist. Now the name People's Temple makes total sense. I didn't know he was into socialism. And I mean, we read about him, but we don't necessarily listen to him. And listening to him is just like a whole other ball game. Reading about him on Wikipedia is one thing, but to hear him and to see this, it's just like, wow. It's really educational. And it's horrible and it's sad. It's sad. It's just sad. He is a horrible person, but it's sad what happened. It's educational. And we can think, wow, after Jonestown, there will never be another guru like this. And yet, there are gurus like this. So, we haven't learned. And maybe we haven't learned to be discriminating, and hopefully we can learn here together, you and me. I think that is enough words. I just don't have really anything to say. I just feel like I've said it already, but I don't know. I ain't feeling it. I ain't feeling nothing. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to end this show here. I'm just going to say thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoy these reaction videos as always. And wow, feel free to put your comments down below. Thank you for joining me in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I need to get more to drink. It's like 80 degrees here. And I'm sweating to death. Alexa, what's the temperature? 80 degrees. And Alexa, stop. And I gotta do some other videos and then go out for a run. And so, yeah, feels like a good time to just say thank you for joining me. As always, it means so much to me that you continue to support me. And I'm just, yeah, I'm just your cheerleader, making sure you don't follow the 2024 version of Jim Jones or whatever year you're watching this. That's all this is.